course, I went like this, and then I heard the 3 after that.
Kenneth Lucas says he was in his video store around 3 a.m. when he heard about 5 shots outside.
1 shot, slow, then 2 shots. I'd probably say about a 2-second interval between the first and second shot, and then the last 3 shots were really fast. Well, the guy that did the gunshot serve went right up the street past my shop, but it was very quick.
He says he went outside to discover damage at the remote break room and after-hours club next door, and a man holding his hip.
One of the guys came running out who was hit. He wasn't sure if he was actually even hit at first, but then he was, because everybody was dodging. He just running out, he was holding his leg, and he was saying, I'm bleeding out, I'm bleeding out. And then I called the police.
And I was like, oh, what's that? And I looked out, and I saw all these police and ambulances out.
Owner A.J. Stanfield refused an interview but showed us inside, giving us a laundry list of things he's been doing, from helping the homeless to planning a motivational speaker visit and food in the building next door. He says he's recently been changing his business to the Netflix and Grill and YouTube studio and does not want it to be focused as an after-hours club but more as a community space. He wants people to have an appointment and not come after 2 a.m. He says he ducked down to the ground and heard the shots and hasn't been able to talk to the man who watched the door yet. He believes the people wanted to come into the place but were not being allowed in. Police say we have to talk to the chief tomorrow.
That's horrible. It's horrible. There's no reason for violence. You should use your mind.
Because he's trying to clean this place up. He doesn't want this after 2 a.m. activity anymore. I'm assuming he was trying to get in for the after hours and didn't let him in. And then whatever words exchanged from there, it escalated.
One apartment neighbor told me off camera after a drive-by type shooting happened nearby in August, and now this, he wants to move. Many bemoaned what they say is a changing town.
For the last five years I've seen this place, it's been turning slowly and slowly into a rattle.
The crazy part is, that same morning, we found out that my girl was pregnant. And I knew I had a weird feeling all day, but I wasn't sure if it was something from that. Something that was similar to what occurred. Either way, I knew it was time for a change. However, before we move forward, let's take a couple steps back into how this all got started. Now, what had happened was, I moved from Harlem, New York to a small city called Reading in Pennsylvania. I like Reading. It's a very diverse community. I call it the land of Icans. Of course, you have your Americans, your Mexicans, your Jamaicans, your Cubans, your Dominicans, Puerto Ricans. I think you can get the picture. He used to be most famous for his supersized clothing outlets. Plus, rest in peace, Alvin Boskov. He was the owner of Boskov department stores. Reading is also famous for being able to get an education all on one street. You could start out at kindergarten and walk down the street all the way to college. I like Reading a lot because it was a competitive city. I think, in my opinion, I haven't seen another small town the size of that one that has as many boxers and athletes as Reading does. On the flip side of that, you have a lot of business competition. Barbershops right next door to barbershops, laundromats right next door to laundromats, corner stores right next door to other stores. I mean, it's crazy. So when I learned about Schuylkill County, it was like a land of opportunity for me. There was tons of vacant storefronts. It was clean and quiet and right on the other side of the mountain from Berks County, which is where Reading is. So after searching for a while, I finally found a place in Schuylkill Haven. And after a couple months of searching for a commercial storefront, I finally found one in Pottsville. Pottsville, Pennsylvania, home of Yingling, the oldest brewery in America, and home to Empire Beauty School, the largest beauty school in America. It wasn't until years later that I actually learned that Muhammad Ali had a training facility in the area.
Correct. Just from my observation of the area, I knew the odds weren't in my favor. I knew that I would face racism. If you look at the chart, 88.4% of the people who live in the area are white, 3.8% are brown, and only 3.4% are black. Collectively, black and brown people only make 7.2% of the total population there.
Oh my, I can only imagine what hurdles you had to jump.
Yes. Just because of my skin color, many people started negative rumors about the place, in which, unfortunately, attracted negative people and a lack of business. The place never made a profit.
Eventually leading to a shooting. So what was the remote break room anyways?
I'm glad you asked. Through my work as a commercial cleaner, and after dating a few nurses, I learned that it was rough for them to go out and have a good time after work, especially nurses that worked second shift or 3 till 11. By the time they get off work, go home to quickly wash up, and then head back out, it would be close to last call, as the bars closed down at 2 a.m. in Pennsylvania. Also, when I cleaned office buildings, normally one didn't begin until after the offices were closed for regular scheduled business hours, so most of the time our shift would end around 11 as well, and us too would struggle searching for a good bite to eat or just to hang out for a few hours after work.
I see.
Yes, so an idea popped up in my mind, and I noticed that most offices that we cleaned didn't have a break room. I thought, what if I could create a space where office workers could meet other office workers, and those who worked late had a place where they could go after work and relax.
I understand now. Remote, meaning away, and break room, meaning break room obviously.
You are very smart.
I am very high. I am so damn high, I've been feeling like you and I are cartoons. I'm sorry, I stopped by the dispensary right before I got here.
You're fine, I don't judge. Anyways, I forgot what I was saying. Oh yeah. So,
I remember it like it was yesterday. It was a winter storm and everything was snowed in, so I clicked on Netflix and seen a show by the name of Shenandoah, which was a small town away from Pottsville and Schuylkill Haven, probably about 15 minutes. It was a good show. It was about some white kids, teenage kids, that beat up a Mexican kid and killed him, and the FBI had to come in because the local police was trying to cover it up. So after watching that show, I ain't gonna lie, I was about to pack it up and leave, but I felt like I already had an establishment established, and it was just about moving forward and trying to change the negativity as far as how maybe the whites look at other minorities. The initial idea for the break room wasn't to make it an after-hour spot. Actually, we planned to make it like an internet cafe where people could come in and rent space or rent time on the computers to get on the internet before the Wi-Fi became more popular. Like I tell everybody, you could have a burger spot and people would just come for your french fries, and then eventually that's what started to happen. Everybody heard that they could bring their own bottle and they can stay after 2 a.m. because they could bring their own bottle, so we didn't have to go by the normal liquor laws as every other bar. So again, just like if you're in the burger business and everybody's coming for your french fries, what do? You have to adjust your business to the customer's demands. After meeting more people, I realized that they had a huge meth and opioid problem, which was kind of new to me, but not new to me, because back where I come from, it was a huge crack and heroin problem. Overall, that's what you might see on the surface, but the inner side of people is really a poverty problem, mental health problems, and just many of those people just feel like the world is against them. A lot of the other business owners, if they came in their store, they wouldn't talk to them, they would kick them out, they would tell them to get from in front of their store. I've seen people that was hardcore addicts turn into rich people like almost overnight, so I would never turn my back on people just because they're down and out. So a lot of times they would just come to me for advice or just have a place to just clear their head and have someone to vent to. So because the bulk of my business started to increase after 2 a.m., I figured you might as well concentrate on that area because that's generally where the business is coming from, no matter what we offer during the day. During the day, we will offer family programs where anybody could come in and take advantage of free classes and have kids movies, so on and so on. The bulk of the business came from people from nearby cities like Reading and Harrisburg and Philadelphia and New York City, and from the minorities or the black and brown people that was in the area. Because it was a minority ran and owned place, the neighbors used to call the cops every weekend, every day on the weekend, to try to shut us down. The funny part is I actually had referrals from local police officers, and I used to ask people when they came, how they learned about the place. And a few times people told me the police introduced them to the place because it was the safest in the area. Ironically, the problems first started from one of the codes officers in City Hall. He had a problem with me having BYOB on the sign, bring your own bottle, and at that particular time, the area didn't have an ordinance for it. The reality is, it was 2 other black-owned businesses, which was barbershops, prior to me trying to start and open this business. And the rumors that I heard about the 2 businesses is that it was a lot of drug activity coming in and out of the business. The funny thing is, it's not really funny, is that people started spreading rumors that we were selling weed out the place because we had hookahs and they take the hookahs for bongs. If you don't know what a bong is, it's something that people who smoke marijuana put it in a sort of like a pipe to smoke marijuana, and what a hookah is to smoke tobacco, flavored tobacco. Police City Hall had a meeting with City Council, and they came out with a law and ordinance that basically looks like it just came off my storefront sign mixed with some Facebook posts, creating a new law, a new license with those with BYOB, and only allowing them to operate until midnight. I didn't know anything about it until the police was called one weekend, and the cop actually showed me a piece of paper saying that I wasn't supposed to be open past midnight. That Monday morning, I went down to City Hall to find out what was the law about and why wasn't I notified, being though I was the only one in the whole entire county with a BYOB establishment. This new law and new license allowed the city to collect extra fees, extra funds, and on top of that, it gave more citizens the advantage over me, being though they know most of my business didn't start or didn't accumulate until after 2:00 a.m. During the day, we were open to the public, and during the evening, we had a membership policy. The membership policy was for those employees or self-contractors that was working for their friends and family to be able to come after hours. So after learning about the new ordinance, we started doing renovations on the building next door to make the storefront more for food, takeout restaurant style establishment.